Dear students, welcome to NRK classes e-learning for mathematics students. Myself, Captain Dr. N. Ramakrishna, Professor of Mathematics, Mrs. Savin College, Vishakhapatnam. Today, our topic is integral domain and fields, which is a second topic on Unit 1 rings in ring theory. In this video lesson, I will explain what is integral domain, what is a divisional ring, what is a field. Also, I will explain some theorems on integral domain and fields. Not only that, I will explain what is idempotent element and nilpotent elements, and also I will explain some theorems on idempotent element and nilpotent element. So, while you are waiting for, let us start our class now. Dear students, to start our topic, integral domain and fields, we recollect the definition of commutative ring and a ring without zero divisors. The commutative ring means a ring satisfies commutative law with respect to multiplication. If A and B are two elements in R, then AB is equal to BA. R satisfies AB is equal to BA. That is the commutative law. A ring satisfies this commutative law, then we say that it is commutative ring. Now, the ring without zero divisors or a ring has no zero divisors are the same. The definition is if AB is equal to 0 implies either A0 or B0. So, with this background, we will enter into our topic integral domain. Now, I will explain what is an integral domain. A ring R plus dot is said to be an integral domain if and only if R is commutative and R has no zero divisors. What it means? A commutative ring without zero divisors is an integral domain. Now, I will explain this definition with examples. You know, Z plus dot is a ring of integers. This ring of integers is an integral domain. And Z6 plus 6 multiplication modulo 6 is not an integral domain. Why? Because it doesn't has without zero divisors. That means it has zero divisors. Therefore, this is not an integral domain. So here, looking at this one, a commutative ring together with the without zero divisors, then it is an integral domain. Now, I will explain what is division ring or a skew field. A ring R plus dot with at least two elements is said to be a division ring or skew field if and only if R has a unity 1 and every non-zero element of R will have multiplicative inverse. That is, there is A inverse is a multiplicative inverse in A such that A into A inverse is equal to A inverse into A is equal to 1. Now, the example for this division ring is the ring of rational numbers q plus dot is a division ring. Now, I will explain what is a field. A commutative ring R plus dot with at least two elements is said to be a field if and only if R has a unity element 1 and every non-zero element of R will have multiplicative inverse. That is, their edges A inverse belongs to R such that A into A inverse is equal to A inverse into A is equal to 1. And for this field, we have an examples. The ring of rational numbers q plus dot is a division ring. Now, look at the field and the skew field. Only difference is commutative law. That is, a commutative skew field is a field. Now, we will go for theorems. Prove that every field is an integral domain. For this, we require what is a field and what is an integral domain. What is a field and what is an integral domain? What is a field? Field is a commutative ring with unity element 1 and every non-zero element will have multiplicative inverse. What is integral domain? Integral domain is commutative ring without zero divisions. So, just you can recollect the definitions of field and integral domain. Here, we will prove that every field is an integral domain. So, take F plus dot is a field. What it means? F is a commutative ring with unity element 1 and every non-zero element will have multiplicative inverse. Now we will prove that F has no zero divisors. That means we require to prove AB is equal to 0 implies either A0 or B is equal to 0. For that, let A not equal 0, take B or two elements in F and AB is equal to 0. The field has a property that every non-zero element will have multiplicative inverse. Therefore, A is a non-zero element, so A inverse existed. What it means? A into A inverse is equal to A inverse into A into is equal to 1. So, take AB is equal to 0. Multiply both sides with A inverse. A inverse into AB is equal to A inverse into 0. This A inverse 0 is equal to 0. Here we have three elements. Apply associative law here. A inverse into A into B is equal to 0. This A inverse A is nothing but 1. So 1 into B is equal to 0. By identity law, we can write 1 into B as B. So what do you get? A not equal to 0 and AB is equal to 0 implies B is equal to 0. So similarly, we can prove that B not equal to 0 and AB is equal to 0 implies A is equal to 0. From these two, we conclude that AB is equal to 0 implies either A0 or B0. So what it means? F has no zero divisors. This is F is commutative ring without zero divisors. Commutative ring without zero divisors is nothing but an integral domain. Hence, we conclude that every field is an integral domain. Now, we go for a note on this theorem. The converse of this theorem is need not be true. What it means? An integral domain is need not be a field. Can we give an example for this? Yeah. So a ring of integers z plus dot is integral domain. Already I explained this example, but this is not a field. Why? Because z does not have multiplicative inverse. Suppose 2 is an element in z. What is multiplicative inverse of 2? 1 by 2. This doesn't contain in z. Therefore, this z Z is not a field. And the proof of this theorem, every field is an integral domain, that also same as to prove a field has no zero divisors. If a theorem is given like this, a field has no zero divisors, just you can give the proof of, and every field is integral domain. That is enough. This is 1 plus 1 offer. Right? Now, we have another theorem. So, the converse of the above theorem, every integral domain is not a field. But if you put a condition finiteness on a integral domain, then it became a field. So that is the theorem now. We will be going to prove. Prove that every finite integral domain is a field. What is finiteness? The countable elements. Let D is equal to x1, x2, x3 and so on xn be a finite integral domain. Here x1, x2 and so on xn are distinct. What it means? No two elements are equal and n is the finite. So this integral domain means it is commutative without zero divisors. Please remember that. Now, to proving this D is a field, it requires two conditions. What is what is that? So one is unity element 1 and second one is non-zero element will have multiplicative inverse. So take A in G and that A is not equal to 0. Now with the help of this A, multiply with every element in D, AX1, AX2 and so on AXN. These are all elements of D by closure law. And N is the finite, we know that. Our claim is these N products are distinct. Distinct means they are different. No two of them are equal. If possible, suppose AXI is equal to AXJ for I not equal to J. Now, what will happen? By left cancellation law, A get cancelled. Because in earlier classes, we proved cancellation laws holds if and only if R is without zero divisors. So using that left cancellation law, you get Xi is equal to Xi. So this is a contradiction. Why? Because all elements in D, x1, x2 and so on xn are distinct. But here you got two of them are equal. Therefore, our supposition AXI is equal to AXJ is wrong. So therefore, these n products AX1, AX2 and so on AXN are distinct elements of D. Now, we will prove that the existence of identity in D. Since AX1, AX2 and so on Xn are distinct elements of D and A is an also element of D. So A belongs to D, but D contains only n elements. So this A must be equal to one of n products AX1, AX2 and so on AXN. Let A is equal to AXI for some Xi belongs to D. Our claim is to show that Xi is equal to 1, that is the unity element in D. So let us take any element in D. Let it be Y. Means Y has the property that A into Xk for some K. Consider Xe into Y. Xe into Y. So this is Xe is the same. What is Y? A x k. Now apply associative law here. X into A into x k. X into y is, that is commutative. D is commutative. X into A is same as A into xa. So A into x is this A. So A into xk, that is nothing but y. So what we get? Xe into y is equal to y. So similarly we have y into xe is equal to y. These two, we conclude that xe into y is equal to y into xe is equal to y for all y belongs to G. So this xe, that is a unit element, is nothing but 1. Sense of inverse. Since ax1, ax2 and so on axn are n distinct elements of D and 1 is also an element of G, so this 1 must be equal to 1 of n products. Let xt belongs to D such that 1 is equal to a into xt. Since D is a commutative, we have a into xt is equal to xt into a is equal to 1. Therefore, we conclude that xt is a multiplicative inverse of a in D. Thus, every non-zero element of D has a multiplicative inverse in D. So, this implies D is a commutative ring and has a unity, and every non-zero element of D will have the multiplicative inverse. So this implies D is a field, hence a finite integral domain is a field. Now we will go for idempotent element. What is meant by idempotent element? Let R be a ring, an element A in R is said to be idempotent element if A square is equal to A. Now look at an example. In a ring R with unity, and then 0 and 1 are idempotent elements. Why? Because 0 square is 0 and 1 square is equal to 1. Now we will go for nilpotent element. What is meant by nilpotent element? Let R be a ring. If there exists a positive integer n such that a power of n is equal to 0, for every a belongs to R, then a is called the nilpotent element in R. So now the example for this is in a ring Z9 plus 9 and into 9. So addition modulo 9, multiplication modulo 9. Here 3 square is equal to 0 bar. 3 square is 3 multiplication modulo 9, 3. That is 9. 9 divisible by 9, the remainder is 0. So that's why you wrote here as 3 square is equal to 0 bar. Therefore 3 bar is a nilpotent element of Z9. Now we will discuss the theorem on idempotent element and nilpotent elements. Prove that 0 is the only nilpotent element in an integral domain. The second is 0 and 1 are the only idempotent elements in integral domain. So let R be an integral domain. And what is integral domain? Commutative ring and without zero divisors. Therefore R is a ring with commutative and R has no zero divisors. Take a non-zero element in R. By closure law, a into a square is also non-zero element in R, and a cube is non-zero element of R, and so on. By induction, we can say that a power of n not equal 0, and where this an is in R. Hence, a is not a nilpotent element. Why? Because we cannot find any positive integer n such that a power of n is equal to 0. Therefore, only 0 is the nilpotent element in ring R. This ring R is a integral domain. Therefore, only nilpotent in integral domain is 0. Now we'll prove our second condition. Let R be an integral domain and A be an idempotent element. So what is the condition? A square is equal to A. That implies A square is equal to A into 1. You take common A into A square. You take A out. So A into A minus A is equal to 0. Since R is a integral domain, method 0 divisors property, you can apply method 0 divides property. So A is equal to 0 or A minus 1 is equal to 0. Implies either A0 or A is equal to 1. So hence 0 and 1 are only idempotent elements in R. Dear students, in this video lesson, I explained you about integral domain and a field with examples, and we proved some theorems on integral domain and fields. And also I explained about the concept idempotent element and nilpotent element, and we discussed some theorem on idempotent and nilpotent elements. Thank you very much. Dear students, thanks for watching my video lesson. Please give a like and give a comment on this and share this video lesson to your friends, and don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.